And we're back. Hello, Joe.
Hello, hello, Kimberly.
I know. I'm so excited to be just working with you and chatting with you more these days. But what we're here to talk about today is AI. And I have to tell you, as a photographer, as somebody that has spent days, weeks, months trying to get a particular bird in a frame or to get a shot with the right blurred background and a reflection in the eagle's eye or I can think of these photos and spending 6 hours on a river delta in sub-zero temperatures, freezing my butt off, going to the car every now and then to warm up. My point is AI is interesting because it touches on so many things, and some of those things that it's touched, like photography, has turned a lot of people, myself included, to be frustrated, irritated about the photos that people put out there, and they don't say it's AI. I mean, I remember one where somebody was like, "Look at this frogfish." And it was like a cartoon character, yet there were thousands of comments about how cool of a fish it was. And I'm looking at that and going, I don't know that fish, and I won't claim to know everything about marine biology, but that looks really wrong to me. Even me, with my skepticism, I was like, "Oh, I gotta check this out. I gotta Snopes it." I mean, not Snopes, but, so I guess with that skepticism and that frustration, tell me, you know, about AI and SQL and databases in general, and what the hell does it mean? And I'll shut
Yeah.
up now. I'll
No,
stop
this is great
ranting
framing.
about my photography frustrations.
No, but the photography thing is a really good example of like, and I don't know, I don't have the source of this quote, but I remember hearing something to the effect of like, I want AI to do my dishes while I could do the fun stuff, not the reverse, me having to do dishes while it gets to do the fun stuff. Like it's,
Totally.
and so the thing is like, I've been very conscious or intentional in my own work to go, do I feel a little bit of drudgery in this task? Wonderful. Claude Code, help me. And so I'm using AI as a trigger to go, if I don't like to do something, I want to find a way for you to help me. Versus, I enjoy the creative act. I enjoy storytelling. I enjoy researching. I enjoy the reading, the synthesizing. Like, don't take the fun parts from me. It can. We've seen that it can. We also see that it creates like the averaging out. So you get something that simulates or looks like it might be something, but it's not. So
Interesting. Yeah.
I think the skepticism is earned. It's not even done yet. I mean, it's I think it's gonna get even worse, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And I actually think we should be. And if you look at some of the behaviors and the systemic components behind it, we should not just run blindly into the night on this. Now, with that said, I still embrace the parts that I'm excited about. Like to me, it's a superpower for folks who have the domain expertise, who have the interest. If you're a storyteller, if you're a tech professional, for me, like I wish I had this when I was studying. I spent hours with the voice assistant going back and forth. Like I remember for Elastic, I spent 16 hours of going back and forth on a voice assistant preparing for the interviews. And I go, what are your data types that you have for Elasticsearch? How do they do high availability disaster recovery? What's the transaction landscape look like? How does it compare to its competitors? Tell me about that competitor. And so I would have loved to have that. And by the way, it still hallucinates on the edges. So you have to have enough meta knowledge to know what you don't
Yeah.
know. So there were times where I'm like, that's it. It has 6 data types. It's like, oh no, I'm not mentioning these other 6. So you have to know where to nudge it,
Yeah.
which makes it, by the way, very scary when you have no meta knowledge.
Yeah.
But when you have that base, I think it's a superpower. And I know that sounds like marketing like, but that's the part where I get exhilarated
No,
is like I could do so much more.
every time I talk to you, you send me something or show me something that you've done that's not tech related, but you used AI to create it. Some of your stories, I'll just say. And it's amazing to me. Like, I thought for sure that you had narrated that yourself, and instead you used AI and voice technology to speak a written word that you had scripted for a story that wasn't tech. It was a side story. But my point is, every time I talk to you, you tell me about all these little things that you're using AI related to make some really cool stuff. So I think that you're the one that's actually made me a lot less skeptic of AI. And at least for me, when I do see a photograph, I will research it, Google it, take the photo, see if I can see that it's AI. I mean, obviously, there's artifacts sometimes in things like photos where you'll see something. But I think what's really important if you're looking at information that's been generated, you always I don't want to say you double check it, but obviously, if you don't have a massive amount of knowledge in that domain, if it gives you a link and a resource, click on those, read
Yeah.
those. I
Yeah.
remember a long time ago, it wasn't AI, but I remember I read an article that said that links in Facebook, when somebody forwards a link, over 60%, I don't know what the exact number, 62, 65, whatever, but like 60% of the links that have been forwarded, the person who forwarded it had never even clicked on the link, which with AI makes me even more scared that people
Yeah.
are not like triple checking information and making sure that it makes sense. So I think that's important to remember, but I do think that there are some things that are just absolutely incredible with AI. And that's what I think in databases can be really powerful, but I think you still have to have an understanding of like what it is, how it
Yeah.
works, what are its issues.
Yeah, I
So,
think that'll be critical. By the way, the whole links and the checking them absolutely, like there's court cases where somebody brought in like references to cases in law that didn't exist. And by the way, a
wow.
lot of that is our fault. I remember hearing something around on a podcast where the reason why we have these hallucinated links and these confident answers is because we've reinforced that with the LLM training. Like we've
Yeah,
reinforced that we want confidence, and
right.
we haven't really built into it to say, I don't know. Like you have to tell it, you have to system prompt it and say, please, if you don't know, say something.
Say, I
Like
don't,
don't just make it up. But most of the time it is incented on engagement.
it's funny that
Now,
you
to your
say
point
that.
of the database side, like in AI and databases, like that's going to be super interesting for us to talk about probably over multiple episodes because
For sure.
part of it is the meta, like how do I as a database professional do my work? But then also it's how do you have your application developers that are right now building AI apps, right now using vector capabilities. That's happening no matter what. How do
Yeah,
you support them before they go running off doing things that you might not like very much
yeah.
before it's too late?
No, for
So
sure.
it's like we've got this window. It's still here. It's not too late, but there's a window. And we
Yeah.
could talk about that. I don't want to open
And
up the bottle
no,
top too
but
early, but
I guess the key point is vector search is here. It is going to happen, and you need to understand it because it's not magic, and there are good things to know and tips and tricks to get it to give you better answers and make it more realistic. But I have to tell you that whole knowing how to say I don't know, I hope that they do integrate that at some point because it would be nice for it to just go, you know what?
yeah.
There's just not enough meta information out here for me to give you a reasonable answer. But here's what I'm thinking. Like, I wish, but anyway,
And some of them
we'll
can,
see
I
how
mean,
that
you
keeps.
nudge them and it's constantly changing. I again find Anthropic's Claude to be the best balancing act where
Yeah.
it will try. ChatGPT has a lot of like, as they call it, glazing, where they're like, oh, that's
Okay.
wonderful. Yes, yes. Oh,
I do
that's
find
such
that
an
it's
interesting
very
thing.
supportive. It makes me
Yeah.
feel so good.
Yes, and that's again, it's kind of by design. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gemini is kind of it's very powerful, but it's got low charisma. So like, there's these all these different personalities, but you have to be on the lookout. There are times where I'll be working on something. Earlier, Kimberly was referring to I'm doing short stories and I'm doing like a bunch of different AI tools composed together to do it. Like I'm using Python for orchestration. I'm using 11 Labs for audio,
Yeah,
Gemini,
you were
Nano
telling me
Banana
about that.
for
Yeah,
visuals,
Nana Banana.
and you're connecting them together. And it's just that whole symphony of different components. And there's almost always something a little hollow about it. There's always something a little bit like off. But anyway,
Yeah,
don't tempt me with this subject. I'll get off
I
course.
know,
But let's
but
get back on the main thread.
it
Yeah.
is amazing how much you keep telling me exactly what you started this discussion with, which is how to take the drudgery out of some of the tasks and use AI to. It reminds me of Cuba Gooding Jr. Help me, help you, and Tom Cruise. And I used to say that to people about indexes, right? Help me, help you with better statistics, and we have the same or similar issues with these new types of indexes and strategies. We need to help them to help us to get the right results, the right behavior, and the right performance. I mean, it's always a balancing act. So it's
Yeah,
exciting. It's
it
exciting. And
is.
I think I'm looking forward to chatting with you more about AI.
Likewise, likewise. There's a lot of different topics, and I hope a lot of the conversations actually even go beyond SQL Server because I feel like this is it's a big opportunity for a lot of data professionals that may have just been SQL focused
Yeah.
to branch out because I think no matter what, there are a lot of players in this space like Postgres and special purpose databases on and on. You can't ignore it anymore. They're going to be in the room, and you can't just be a SQL Server professional in this particular subject.
Ooh, do I want to pull you
You
along a
can.
little bit here?
You
Um,
can.
do you think that this is going to lead to hybrid data sets where you want to store certain data in SQL, but maybe other data in a different database, leveraging that AI technology, and then bring them together? Like, what does that mean? Or is it different, totally different data sets, or
Let's okay,
both?
so let's definitely go there and let me pick the spicier
I'm going to
version
have
of
some
the
more caffeine just to keep me
great,
on my
the
toes
more
with you,
choose your own
Joe.
adventure spicy edition. Here's what I would be concerned about. So a developer, let's say this is a year ago, and they look at Postgres. Postgres has PG vector. They have these vector capabilities. And a developer's like, you know what, I need these now. I need the ability to do semantic search, which we'll talk all about at a certain point. I need it to understand and keyword full text search isn't doing it well enough. Standard predicates with
Right.
where, like, isn't doing it well enough. I need this now. Now, if they had been talking about pre 2025, they would need to go outside of SQL Server. So then what's the question there? Are you going to go with a general purpose database that has it integrated in, or existing solutions that have it integrated in? So MongoDB, Elastic would fall into that. Postgres, Oracle has a ton of features like it. Or are you going to do a special purpose vector database like Pinecone, Weaviate, Quadrant? Are you going to do some kind of in-memory solution? By the way, these all like it's the magic it depends discussion. Like there
Yeah,
are
of
many
course, of
cases where
course.
this might be appropriate, but if you're a SQL Server shop, your world just got a lot more fractal because if they just said, look, well, it wasn't there, and so I'm going to go with this. And by the way, DBA, I need you to stay in sync because I need the latest and greatest data to be brought over here. And these documents, I need them to be chunked and embedded, and I need to do search over here. Why is it 1 hour out of date? What's going on here with the sync? Oh, I need you to actually back propagate some of these things. All of a sudden, you have this integration challenge that
Right.
whether you like it or not, you need to handle that integration. But guess what? You'll have to troubleshoot it too at some point. You'll have to explain, similar to the classic SAN administrator, it's not the SAN, it's SQL Server, it's not SQL Server, it's the SAN. It's
Doesn't
going to be
DBA
that.
stand for default blame acceptor?
Yes, it's going to be, and that by the way, the good news is that's forever.
Yeah.
DBA, that acronym
Job
forever.
security?
Yeah, until the end of time, we will be the final stop. So the thing is, you will have to understand this regardless of where that vector data goes,
Right,
because there'll be
right.
some synchronization. Now, if they move everything off a SQL Server, well, then you've solved that problem.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we know that doesn't happen overnight. I mean, COBOL still in
Yeah.
the room, like so. I just think that this is a chance now. We've got this window. It's probably a year and a half, 2 year window to really get a hold of it so that you can be at the table sitting with these application developers. By the way, you might be an application developer now, the way things are going,
I know
and
we wear so
and
many
recommend
hats,
it.
right?
So
Yeah.
many hats, like the they call it the collapsing of the talent stack. Like product managers are going to need to know more engineering and design. Engineers are going to
Yeah.
need to know more product. Same thing's happening in the DBA developer world. You're going to need to understand it. But the more you know, the more you can go, hey, please don't send our data out. Like 2025 has this data now. There's some gotchas there, but I think for what you're looking for, 100,000 documents, we can easily do it.
Right.
That's a conversation that if you can't have it it's being held elsewhere.
Yeah.
And now you're paying the consequences of that fragmentation.
Right. So, okay. So we have features. We can use them on existing SQL Server databases. They have pros and cons, some very cool stuff for sure, but nuances to make it do what you really want it to do. And at least you can communicate effectively with your team, understand the technologies, understand how they work, limitations. So all of that is good. And vector search, and even if they don't call it AI, like, or let's say we don't even use AI and any of the negatives that may come with that, and we just say this is another type of searching technology
Yeah.
that happens to offer, in a lot of cases, power where we didn't have it before, like full
Yes.
text, right?
Yeah.
So those are things that I think every DBA should understand at a minimum. So, well, cool.
Absolutely. And by the way, you're kind of you're pointing to the like, so where is the benefit here? And I'll just leave you with like some breadcrumbs, if that's okay, of
Please, yeah.
like because I think you'll have to pattern match very quickly, like, oh, could this be a vector search? Because some things will be classic search, classic full text search, classic like predicates. But if you hear things like relevance, like semantic relevance, I want to search for products like this.
Right.
That's a vector search thing.
Yeah.
Want to do natural language and fuzzy searches.
Well, that, yeah, immediately.
Semantic search.
Yeah.
Even industry type language, when you hear, I need to do a bunch of search for legal documentation or medical documentation, there's things that it can do with really high fidelity in ways that you could never build a search equivalent
matrix
with
that could,
fixed rules and heuristics.
Yeah.
And then even some of the classic ML things like anomaly detection and clustering, those can augment oftentimes. That could be
Wait,
part of your
clustering.
solution.
I've heard that word used
Yes,
a
yeah.
few other times before.
Yes, and I mean cluster. By the way, this is like the welcoming to the land of the term being used in multiple cases and totally different things, including vector, by the way. Like we think about like column store and batch processing. But yes, clustering in the sense of clustering like things together.
Yeah.
So this is like this, like red is near to magenta, but further away from purple or further away from yellow. So just the whole clustering. But anomaly detection, again, there are classic ML methods in the space, but you can see things get augmented all with embedding to create vectors, which can be stored in a database now like SQL Server.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I'm excited to talk to you more about this because
Likewise.
I've been focused on so many other things and I haven't been focused on this. So it's been incredible just even dabbling in this and how much I've learned from you. So it's going to be exciting to get into more of these. So thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kimberly. Awesome.
Hey, have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.